what's up everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have the Echo Boss theme, phases 1 and 2. Reiko wanted me to get to this one and a few people agreed, so here we are with this. I listened to them and used the upload from Yin427. I don't know how good of an upload quality this will be, but they requested that one and I was like, sure, you know what? Best to trust the person who has heard it. So I guess without further ado, let's go. It's a pretty strong start for a battle theme. I kind of like how it's building off of the piano, just like already. It just jumps right in with that. Love that bass in there. Oh, great pattern. It's really nice to hear those variants and rhythm. Ooh, and the halftime. Ooh. We all know how much I love halftime. I love that too. It's like a sonar ping. A Doppler ping. I don't know if that has anything to do with the characters involved. Assuming that this is Echo, I don't see much that might be relevant for some sort of a radar ping. Maybe though. I'm really liking this like exploratory approach to the rhythms in here. Like there's a lot of movement and there's a bunch of things just moving at different times. That might sound like a general statement because it kind of is, but it's not settling down is my point. It's constantly shifting around a little bit. It's like it can't find what it wants to be. But it also hasn't like lost the core of what it is. Like it still has a very clear like melody, the structure, the backbeat to it is very strong, but there's a bunch of other things moving around and changing it up, which I guess in a general sense kind of makes sense for a battle theme. You want to keep the rhythm moving, constantly being dynamic, because that's what a fight is. And I know I'm going to be getting like a second phase here at some point. We might already be starting it for all I know, but I don't know how they're going to transition, if at all. It might just cut out and start the next section. Yep. Okay, phase 2. Let's see how it evolves with what we had to what we're going to get. The rising tension there in the synth already. Ooh, even a bracing tension with that like a lower drone sound. Ooh. Okay, more steady, more firm. It's a more rigid sort of rhythm. And the percussion is now like all... Ooh. That was a really cool slide. Adds a lot of tension there. See, like even here, the rhythm changed, but it's still confident in itself now. It's not as, you know, experimental as the last phase. And now we got that halftime feel in here again. But again, still very driven. It's not moving too much. This is very much a signifier of, like, let's get serious. Time to take it seriously. Okay, wait. So here we have syncopated rhythm. Things that are off time from the standard we just had. So something's wrong. Ooh, this is doing a lot. Was that it? Oh, that was neat. And doing that like syncopation at the end too, just cause like, again, that's like a signifier that there's something wrong. So maybe that's either a transition back to loop back around to the beginning of phase 2, which could definitely work, or it's supposed to signify them getting close to their end and kind of reaching that point of like, well, things aren't going my way, time to get a little bit weird with it. Like not necessarily experimental as it is unpredictable. So I was yapping quite a bit during this reaction and I was sharing my thoughts actively, but there's a few other things specifically with the melody I want to talk about. I was mostly on the rhythm for that whole reaction. That's where my brain decided to stay. But there were also a few things in the melody that I was catching that were signifying some personality traits about this character. Again, I'm assuming that since this is the Echo boss theme, that the character we're fighting is Echo, the character that I'm seeing on screen is Echo, and that would definitely track. So going off of visuals and a mix of what was happening in the music, I'm wondering if there isn't, and this is kind of a broad statement, I know this is saying a lot for a game that has to do with basically anything sci-fi, but this doesn't feel like a character who knows who they are. Like there's not necessarily a tragedy behind it. It might be a little tragic, but if it is, it's not in the like super tragedy, like everybody died and they're living with that grief. Maybe this character was put through some shit, and it just, the reason that I'm getting that is because the melody had such a sense of like air to it. It had such a wispiness to it. Like something wasn't settling in, kind of similar to the rhythm, how everything was moving around. There was this constant like droning tone above everything else, this like wispy, airy, like kind of like a little haunting, you know? Something is haunting this character. I don't know what that may be. Again, I'm kind of just grasping at straws, assuming that there's some sort of tragedy in place, because that's kind of a general thing to expect out of games like this, but it could be anything. If I had to guess based off of the clues from the design, that other creature character part behind, I assume it's like a one and the same sort of thing, like this like entity behind her is part of her fighting kit and probably has some sort of direct connection with her. I'm not entirely sure what that would be, of course, but I'm assuming since it's based off of a knight, there's probably some sort of a prideful resonance to that design choice. Like she might be that type of character, or was that type of character, or designed to be that type of character and have that pride, but something at some point may have betrayed that pride and their trust in whoever their boss was, whoever they answered to. They did something that made her go, I don't think so. You're abusing your powers here. I don't like this. And that sort of abusive relationship, which is kind of where I am assuming that tragedy I'm getting out of this song is also alluding to, something like that. Not necessarily so big it's like, oh, my entire village died and I was the only survivor. It's not that type of song. It's definitely a more personal, begrudging sort of, I don't know if I would call it like revenge, like this essence of revenge. It's more of like, this character feels betrayed, but not necessarily in the right of, I need to get back at them for this. It's just like, hey, you done fucked me up, and now I've got to go live this other life in order to make sure that doesn't happen to other people. I do think the shifting around in rhythm is kind of portraying that as well, like the fact that this character isn't really ready to settle down, is constantly almost antsy to do something, but also there is that like moment, especially in phase 2, where she like locks in basically, the rhythm gets steady, and even when it does change, it doubles up and it goes halftime again. It's like it's a consistent sort of rhythm compared to all of the variants in that first phase. The second phase had a lot more consistency and a lot more of a rock solid rhythm. So that signifies to me that the first phase is more of a, hey, you want to do this? Okay, let's dance. But then the second phase is much more of a, okay, time to lock in, get serious, and handle this because they're clearly better than I thought. But then the end is really what gets me with this one rhythmically, because it's like, again, that's completely syncopated. It's not the syncopated like the first phase had. It's a completely different level. In the first phase, you had a bunch of different rhythms that were doing their thing, but it was still pretty consistent, and they all landed effectively on a consistent 1 in the count for that song. But then the last little section here, it didn't have that. It was in a completely different rhythmic structure from everything we had heard before. Point being, it is completely, comparatively to the rest, nonsensical and seemingly random, even though there is a consistent time signature. If you look at it musically, it's not like it is entirely random, but compared to the rest of the song, it is the most inconsistent rhythm we had up to that point, which is why I'm thinking it's something like her either accepting that she's losing and is just coming to terms with that, or it's just being used as kind of like a stumbling, like when you get hit really good and you kind of go, oh shit, and you like almost lose your footing, and then it would loop back to the beginning of the first phase, like she finally catches herself, which would also work as just a generally good transition for that sort of emotion, where you're playing this very firm, very stringent rhythm, and that's supposed to signify somebody who's trying their best to keep things on beat, in order, and keep track of it, and then that gets messed up. You get knocked off balance, but that can either go to the end of the song where you completely fall over, or you can catch your footing and get back to it. So in a way, music theory wise, that would be a really good transition to do kind of anything with that moment. Whether she wins or loses, you can go there with that sort of a change. But also, I think that that might be a very personal thing to this character. Just, again, grasping at straws on that assumption, but that might be something kind of like a showing a little bit more personality, maybe. Like, maybe she's the type who's, like, presents herself as a little bit more, like, proper and poised, but then she fucks up and she's like, duh, and it's just, you know, a little bit of a character, like, kind of peeking through the curtains sort of thing. I don't know. There's a lot that I could pull from this song, but I have yapped about this song way too long, way more than I thought I did, including during the song, so I am just gonna call it here. Thank you all so very much for watching, and thank you, Reiko, for putting this into the comments, and everyone who liked it so I could get to it. This was surprisingly verbose for a video of a song that's really, I didn't think I would get that much out of this. It kind of is a hit or miss at any given point, but I went into this going, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to talk about this much, and here we are, like, what, about 18 minutes into the recording, and I've said way too much. So thank you all again so very much. If you have another song you want me to listen to, by all means drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!